I hear about this all the time. Somebody will call you up and say, realty expert John Brodeen, I have a house I want to sell, and I want $350,000 for it.
Yep.
So John Brodeen says, okay, let me come and take a look. We'll talk. And you walk up there, drive up to the house, and you say to yourself, or you think to yourself, there's no way in heck this house is worth that much money. Homeowners get things wrong all the time when it comes to putting a value on their house. Am I correct?
Yep.
Don Brodeen in the studio, but it's also our third anniversary today.
Yes.
So we're going to celebrate a little bit with John this morning. How are you, buddy?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Big Friday, big day today. You got
3
plans for the
years.
weekend after we get out of here today?
I'm not sure what we got going on this weekend. I think we're probably going to do something with friends and watch the UND hockey game.
Sure. Yeah, it's actually on a regular channel tonight.
Yeah.
So I think I can even get it at my house.
Yes, is it?
I think it's CBS Sports, I think.
Got it. Well, that one's, it depends if you got the sports package or not.
Yes, well, I have DirecTV, so I don't get most UND hockey games. I get a few, and I heard all of the games in the Frozen, or what do they call it, the Frozen Face-Off.
Yep.
They're all going to be on CBS Sports, from what I read this morning. So
I have that NCHC app on my Apple TV.
Okay.
So I get all of the UND games, like home and away.
Sure.
But then if they're on CBS Sports, I've got this other way that I watch them because I don't have cable.
You got that other way you watch them, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Without saying anything incriminating.
Hey, I was going to ask you, now I know I hear about this all the time. Somebody will call you up and say, realty expert John Brodeen, I have a house I want to sell, and I want $350,000 for it.
Yep.
So John Brodeen says, okay, let me come and take a look. We'll talk. And you walk up there, drive up to the house, and you say to yourself, or you think to yourself, there's no way in heck this house is worth that much money. Homeowners get things wrong all the time when it comes to putting a value on their house. Am I correct?
Yep, you are.
And why does that happen? I mean, everybody's stuff, you see it all the time. It doesn't matter if you're looking at buying a motorcycle, a car, or a home. It seems like everybody wants more than it's really worth.
Yeah. And so it could be that they're just trying to kind of take inventory of their net worth and they're trying to figure out how much home equity they have. Mm-hmm. It could be that they're thinking about selling and they want to figure out what their proceeds are going to be from selling.
Okay.
People do have a bias towards thinking their home is worth more than
sure
it
they
is.
do. Yeah.
That's just the way it is sometimes. But usually people try to do some research when they're trying to figure out how much their home is worth. Mm-hmm. And the way that they're going to do research, they're going to try to mimic the way a real estate agent would figure out how much their home is worth. And they know that we're going to look at comparable sales. A common mistake that homeowners will make is they will look at so the first kind of common mistake they make is looking at homes only on their street or only in their neighborhood. When the house is on one street, one could be way bigger than another one. One could be a different style. If it's way larger or way smaller than their home, or it's a completely different style, for example, 2-story compared to a ranch or a split level compared to a ranch or something like that, an appraiser is never going to use it as a comp. Mm-hmm. But they think that it has some influence over their home's value just because it's sold and it's on their street, or it just listed. That's another common mistake is they think, oh, that neighbor's house just, even if it is a comp, they say, oh my gosh, that house just listed for $350,000. But what they normally don't pay attention to is, okay, 2 months later they price reduced down to $330. Then 6 months later, they price reduced again to $310, and they eventually sold for $290. They never remember or don't pay attention to those parts, but they just remember the $350 part. So sometimes people are surprised to see that maybe a neighbor's house didn't sell for what it listed at. Maybe their neighbor overpriced their home. You don't necessarily only look at homes in your neighborhood. Sure, if there's an identical home across the street that sold this year that has similar finishes and everything, of course you're going to use that as a comp. But you want to find the most similar homes that have sold. And if the most similar homes that have sold are in a different neighborhood with similar values, you're going to use those homes that are in a little bit different area. And that's something that we run into all the time. So the other thing that people will look at is they'll say, oh my gosh, yeah, that house down the street, even if it was a comparable, they'll pay attention to the things that that home doesn't have, that their home does have.
Well, yeah,
But
they're going to compare.
Yes. So all the things that are good that help the value of their home, like let's say, oh, I've got a gazebo with a hot tub off the back and they don't. But that house has a 3-stall garage and, 800 more square feet and a brand new kitchen. And you don't have that. So usually people don't pay attention to the differences that hurt their home's value. They only pay attention to the differences that help their home's value. And this is why, when you're selling a home, or even if you're thinking about just what your home is worth because you're trying to figure out how much home equity you have, it is great. It's a great time to use your realtor's expertise for this, because that realtor who sold you the home, hopefully you still have some sort of a relationship with them where you can call them or text them and say, hey, I was just wondering how much my home is worth now. I know I bought it like 5 years ago. I know the market's changed. Can you figure out for me how much my home's worth and how much I would take home if I sold it right now? And a good real estate agent will be able to put together a CMA for you and, give you a pretty accurate idea of what you could expect it to sell for currently. And you need that unbiased opinion. And even real estate agents aren't always the best at being unbiased, because they obviously want the house to be worth as much as possible. They want to be able to tell the seller something that's going to make the seller happy. So the realtor has to struggle, as just like the homeowner does, to remain unbiased and be able to look at the downsides of the home as well as the upsides.
Yeah, because you guys all have your own vision, your own idea of your dream home.
Yeah.
It could be different. Now, I want to keep going back to this $350,000 example.
Yeah.
Now, if you come up and they call you and they say, I want $350,000 for my house, and you talked about houses that are overpriced, and pretty soon 3 months later they drop the price. 3 months later they drop the price, keeps dropping. Has it ever been where you have gone up to a prospective client and said, there ain't no way you're going to get this much money for that house? Or do you just kind of got to bite the bullet, bite your lip and say, okay, let's do it, and then deal with we're going to have to drop the price here in another month or two. We're going to have to drop the price again. Do you ever just say, I don't think you're going to get that, or not?
Yep, in a more tactful and in a nicer way, yes, I will tell them that, because my job is to be honest with them straight up, make sure they know everything they need to know about the market to make a wise decision with their listing price. And if they're wanting to overprice it by 60 grand, we're probably not a good fit to work together.
Yeah,
they might try it with a different agent who will take it at any number at a $60,000 overpriced, and when it doesn't sell, when their listing contract expires in 6 months, they might call me up and say, hey, John, you were honest with me right off the bat. I think we made a mistake listing it with this person. And we want you to list it and sell it now.
So it wouldn't be a good thing if I was a realty expert to say, there ain't no way in hell you're getting that much money for this house.
No, not with those words, but
I'm sure you probably have to list everything and go, okay, here's the problem I think we might have, this, that. You can't just be as blunt as you'd like to be.
No, I rarely run into issues with this, because my job is to be able to communicate this to them in a way that they're going to be able to completely understand. And so usually when I'm done going through this with them, we are on the same page. Okay. They have the same understanding that I have now of why it's worth what it's worth. And, if there's something like, it's almost impossible that there's something that I missed that is making this home worth more than it is, because I know every single thing to look at. And I know a lot more about how to value homes than the average homeowner. I try to basically copy what an appraiser is going to do. So most times when we go through this stuff, even if they had higher hopes or expectations at the beginning, if we have that conversation and I walk through why it's worth what it is, we usually are on the same page. Yeah, it's you don't want to insult somebody, because you don't want to insult them in their house and make them take it personally. Sure. But they are hiring me to be honest with them.
Right.
So they're hiring me not to just agree with everything they say, but they're hiring me to kind of keep them from accidentally making a mistake.
Has anybody ever hired you that was like one of those Mr. or Mrs. Know-it-alls and think they maybe know more than you, a realty expert, does?
Yeah, it's happened.
I mean, guys, I would think are probably a little, maybe I'll take that back, but we tend to think we know a little bit about a lot of stuff when really we probably don't know squat about a lot of stuff. And
I've had both. You'd be surprised.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's what you're here for. That's what all of you realty experts at Berkshire Hathaway are here for. You guys know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not your first rodeo. I mean, you guys have all been doing this for a while, and you're all really good at what you do. So, and I know people that are trying to sell on their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll save whatever percent. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. But in 6 months, when you're asking me who a good realtor is,
yeah,
just remember, I told you so.
Yeah. If this is off on a little bit of a tangent, but if there's 10 terrible mistakes that somebody could make that's going to doom their listing from the very beginning, maybe a crappy real estate agent makes, 3 of those mistakes. A really good real estate agent makes 0 of those mistakes. For sale by owner, from my experience, it's like they make 9 or 10 of those mistakes.
Okay.
It's and it's almost being successful listing and selling properties. It's almost about not making the mistakes as it is about doing something new or different or crazy. We're still on the cutting edge of everything technology wise and advertising wise, but there are those. It's more about avoiding those big pitfalls that in order to have success and get a strong sale price, good net for you as the seller. For sell by owners, it's like they make every mistake in the book that's going to doom their listing from the beginning. And, even if they don't make all 10, they're going to do a lot worse than the worst real estate agent in town, Well,
if that's a John Brodeen tangent, I'd hate to see you when you get mad, man.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
It all boils down to, and again, I mean, you could beat me over that. It's like beating a dead John here. You learn so much talking to you guys. I know I'm starting to get why people need a real estate expert
they
like
just need
you
to
guys.
talk to you now because you basically know everything we know now after 3 years of doing this podcast. So you can just tell them everything we wish everybody knew off the bat, and then we have a great working relationship.
I'll tell you what, people have been watching this thing, and they'll ask me, who are those guys again?
Oh, yeah.
Who do I talk to again? And you know where I sell them, which way I send them. So, no, I am by far no realty expert. Well, just the other day, you had me stumped on something.
You're better off than the average person after however many hours of this.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there, and I do. It's like going to a real estate classroom, real estate 101 or something, if you will, in a condensed version twice a week. But well, so again, it's going to help if you get a real estate agent. Folks, don't try to sell your house on your own. And also, it doesn't hurt to ask. If you say, I want $350,000 for this house, look at your real estate expert and go, what do you think? At least, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And if your real estate agent won't ever disagree with you on anything, that's a red flag. And
sure.
The relationship between you and the real estate agent who sold you your home should not be over when the deal closes. You should rely on them for a lot of different things. They can be like your Rolodex to help give you recommendations for contractors, cleaners, snow removal people, lawn care people, plumbers, electricians. They have a lot of connections within the community if they're a good agent. And the other thing that people always forget about is you can always ask your real estate agent for an updated value on your home when you're trying to do kind of an inventory of things. So rely on them. They're there for a reason. They're there to help you. You should have a relationship with them.
All right. I don't know if today would be considered your free day since it's Friday and all, John, but are we going to be able to sit down and have a cold one on our anniversary here?
I'll have a beer with you, John. Don't worry.
All right. How does I'm looking forward. Now I want to get done with this thing so we can have one.
Yeah.
How does somebody get a hold of realty expert John Brodeen?
So follow me on Instagram, YouTube. Put out videos almost every day. If you want to become a client or you want to ask more questions, you're figuring out what your home is worth, 701-213-5428. That's my cell phone, so you can call or text me.
All right. Thanks for coming in again today. Let's enjoy this day. It's a Friday, and you have yourself a great weekend too, buddy.
You too, John.
All right. There you go. John Brodeen, your realty expert. And that is your Friday edition of a Berkshire Hathaway bi-weekly podcast. We'll be back with a brand new one next Wednesday, right here from the studios of Grand Forks Best Source.